Hi, welcome back to Storytime, The Land of Raw by Jenny McLachlan, illustrated by Ben Mantle. We're on chapter 12. Back in the attic, I stare at the camp bed. I've looked for Grandad everywhere. Even though I know he couldn't have got out of the bed, I've still checked every room in the house, the cellar, the shed, and even the garage, and opening the bed isn't an option. Some truly weird stuff has happened in the past hour, and I'm not about to do anything that might permanently erase my Grandad. He disappeared inside the mattress, so that's where I've got to go too. Trying to ignore the feathers and scraps of straw, I get down on my hands and knees, then push my head inside the bed. I want to pull it straight back out, but I keep my eyes squeezed shut and wriggle further in. "Hear me roar," I blurt, pulling my legs up behind me. The bed wobbles, then becomes still. I'm crouched in the middle of the mattress, surrounded by darkness. It feels damp and lumpy, and it smells like the PE cupboard at school. The springs from the mattress dig into my skin, and I can't find enough air to breathe. All I want to do is get out, but I force myself to stay where I am while I wait for something to happen. When Rose and I played Raw, I'm sure this was when the game began. I don't know how it worked, but when we came out the other side, we'd be in Raw. I crouch there, the mattress pressing into my face until I can't stand it any longer. I crawl forward, my head bursts out into bright light, and I gulp fresh air. I see dusty floorboards and straw and feathers. Outside the sun is shining and I can hear Maze and Bailey laughing. I pull myself all the way out of the bed, feeling relieved and scared and stupid all the same time. Then I walk back round to the other side of the bed. Grandad is still missing, and I'm going to keep crawling through this mattress until I find him. And for the next 10 minutes, that's exactly what I do. Soon my eyes are itchy, I'm sweaty, and my hair is massive, and I'm crackling with static. I'm wriggling on the attic floor for the 32nd time when I see Rose standing in the doorway, sucking a blue ice pop and watching me. I've looked for him everywhere, I say. This is the only thing left to do. She does a long, hard suck on the lolly and then says, "I'll admit it's strange that he's vanished." I'm so relieved to hear her say this that I jump to my feet and rush over. "I told you, Grandad's vanished inside the bed and somehow we've got to go there, go to Raw and get him back." She sighs. "Arthur, we never actually went to Raw. You know that, right? The whole time we were playing up here in the attic, pretending." "But when we played Raw, it didn't feel like we were in the attic. It felt real." All the time I've been talking, Rose has been sucking hard on her ice pop, draining all the blue out of it. "I suppose it felt different to other games," she admits. "But do you remember when I said I could fly? I got you all to come and watch, and it turned out it was just me jumping down the stairs, flapping my arms." She shrugs. "Kids have got big imaginations." "That's exactly what I thought before I felt Grandad being pulled into the bed. I showed her the marks on my hand where Grandad's nails dug in. And there's another thing. Just before he disappeared, Grandad basically said he believed that Raw was real." Rose laughs. "Arthur, this whole thing is a massive practical joke. I bet Grandad's had this plan for ages." "Grandad would never scare me like this." She raises one eyebrow. "Wouldn't he?" "No, he wouldn't." Rose shrugs like she couldn't care less what I think. "Suit yourself. I'm going to town. Mason says there's 3 for 2 on at Claire's. Before I went, I thought I should check you hadn't vanished too." And that's when I realise it's hopeless. If Rose is more bothered about hairbands and earrings than she is about Grandad, I don't want her to come with me. Fine. I walk back to the camp bed, crouch down and roll up my sleeves. "Hear me roar," I mutter as I stick my head back into the mattress. "Ha," says Rose. I pull my head out and turn to look at her, eyes narrowed. I'm in no mood to hear Rose's sarcastic hass. "What?" "Nothing. Only, I never said 'hear me roar,' because even when I was 5 I thought it was stupid. When I got into the middle of the mattress I just shut my eyes and imagined Raw. Then when I came out the other side I was there." She takes a last long suck on her ice pop, then turns to the door. "See you later, loser." Let's go for chapter 13 too. Chapter 13. I pull my legs in behind me and I crouch in the middle of the bed just like before. Only this time I don't bother with any magic words. Instead I use Rose's technique. I close my eyes and I imagine Raw. It's hard to begin with. Raw is buried at the back of my mind. Some details like Wynn's hat and Croaky's voice are crystal clear, but most of it is hazy and muddled, like my memories of Nanny and the first house we ever lived in. But then something comes back to me, the feeling of holding a soft creature in my hand. This thing has got wings and they're batting against my fingers. Furry. I'm holding a furry. I'm not exactly sure what a furry is, but suddenly I know there were loads of them in Raw. Then my mind is full of furries. I see them hovering like dragonflies and sunbathing on stones, and Raw comes rushing back to me as fast as the furries' beating wings. I see me and Wynn standing on a ship, the Raven, and I feel the spray from the bottomless ocean stinging my eyes. I hear a shout to my left, "Get back, before he burns your hair off!" And I turn to see Rose tossing bits of donut to a hovering dragon. Croaky lands with a thump on the deck of the Raven. His black wings billow around him like a cloud as he grips hold of my arm and hisses, "I've got you now, Arthur Trout." Keeping my eyes squeezed shut and my mind stuffed full of Raw, I start to crawl further into the mattress. Left hand, right hand. I see Mitch, her blue hair trailing behind her, tangled and encrusted with shells. Left hand, right hand. I smell the bonfire and popcorn smell of Win Ninja's cave. Left hand, right hand. Somewhere at the back of my brain I register that I should have fallen onto the attic floor by now, and that this is taking far too long. But I push the thought away and picture Raw's night sky crammed so full of stars, it looks like a bag of glitter had been thrown across black velvet. There were millions of stars in Raw, blue, green, pink, purple, and their light was as warm as the sun. Those stars used to shine down on me and Rose when we were floating in Mitch's lagoon. They made patterns on our skin. I freeze, snapping back to where I am, but something has changed. My hands aren't pressing into a soft and spongy mattress anymore. They're touching something cold and hard. Holding my breath, I feel around. The mattress is gone. I'm kneeling on stone. Icy fear rushes through me. This is what I wanted to happen, wasn't it? I wanted to crawl into the camp bed and for something magical to happen, but now the rock is digging into my hands and knees. I'm so scared, my whole body is shaking. I force myself to open my eyes. Thick blackness surrounds me, but far ahead I can just make out a tiny pinprick of green light. And the air isn't dusty anymore. It's cool and damp, and I can hear rushing water. I start to crawl towards the green light. My head scrapes against the roof of the tunnel, and rocks graze my hands. But I don't stop until I reach the very end, and the green light has become a curtain of leaves, with light shining through it. Before I can change my mind, I push my head through the leaves and crawl out into the dazzling sunshine. I blink and rub my eyes. I'm on a narrow ledge. I lean forward and see that the ledge is set into a cliff, and far below me is a deep, round pool. Trying to ignore the terrifying drop, I look straight ahead. I'm staring across a valley with a river winding through it. The river passes forests and mountains and glittering lakes. One side of the valley is bright and alive and bursting with leaves and colour, while the other half is shadowy and barren. The river has a shifting, swirling rainbow shine on its surface, and it leads to a wild sea. Far, far away beyond the sea are snow-topped mountains. Gazing at this unbelievable sight, I should feel lost and scared. But I don't, because this is Raw. There's a picture of Arthur. Can you see him crawling through to Raw? And there he is, in Raw. And that's the end of the chapter. See you next time. Bye.